Hi, I'm Courtney McQuade with Markets Group here at our private wealth event in Sydney, Australia. With me is Martin Crabb, CIO at Shaw & Partners. Martin, it's so great to see you.
Oh, great for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So you just came off a panel discussing the macro market outlook. Can you tell me, for you, what were some of the key highlights from that panel?
Yeah, obviously it's called Manoeuvring the Macro was the name of the panel, and it was like there's been so much volatility in the past few days. The Markets Group have picked the perfect time to do a conference about macro, so well done to you. Look, a lot of it was just saying what's really the risk out there, how are you thinking about the world. We had some really interesting comments from Sally Oll from JB Weir and also from MA Financial in the credit space, and Tim obviously does the same job as me over at Evans and Partners. So it was a really good panel, really good discussion, but some common themes around managing volatility and managing portfolios for volatility going forward.
Mm-hmm. And what are you thinking about that? I know that our U.S. audience is very interested to think about, in the APAC Australian region specifically, what are you seeing right now and what are you thinking about it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Obviously, the US market's been leading from a valuation perspective, so our market, along with other markets in the region, have been following the PE ratio of the US market higher, but the underlying earnings driver for Australia is more what's happening in China. So we have seen over the weekend the plenum, which was expected to provide a whole bunch of government stimulus to that economy, kind of really fell a little bit flat. So the concern is that China is slowing and it's our biggest export market. So the outlook for the Aussie economy is probably starting to get a little bit softer, and yet we've got a Reserve Bank that looks like they want to keep interest rates higher. So a bit of a shifting picture here. Our market's seen as a proxy on growth in Asia, and that does look like it's going to be slowing a little bit.
And what are your clients talking about right now? What are they concerned about? What are their main questions?
Yeah, US tech is still the number one topic on people's lips because a lot of investors have missed out. A lot of fund managers have missed out, and it's like, do I buy now? Do I wait? Are these stocks going to continue running? How big is the AI thing going to be? And we see a lot of hockey stick projections. We saw a presentation this morning from GlobalX looking at AI spend, which did look a little bit hockey stick. It's just going to keep growing. So that's one thing that investors are really struggling to get their head around. They've seen an amazing amount of wealth being created, but they haven't participated. And so, is it too late to get on board?
They want in?
They want in, yeah. They wanted in probably a year ago, but, so I think that's probably the one thing, that the volatility that we've seen in some of those share prices have kind of scared a few people as well. So that's probably the one thing that most investors we're talking to is on top of their mind.
Interesting. And for you, as the Chief Investment Officer, what keeps you up at night, Martin?
Yeah, I'm paid to take risks for my clients, so I say to them, look, don't worry about the risk because I've got the grey hair from worrying about everything. But I think what's happening in terms of the different shift in interest rate policy amongst different central banks around the world will have Australia on hold, maybe hiking. We've got Japan probably hiking, and yet a lot of other central banks are looking to cut rates. So that has big implications for things like currencies and bond markets and obviously equity markets as well. So just watching how that plays out. And as we go into November, there'll be a big focus again on the political situation in the United States and what sort of leader we're going to have going forward for the next 4 years. So there's quite a lot out there to keep us on our toes.
There certainly is. And tell me, Martin, how are you enjoying the event so far?
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely packed house in there. People standing at the back of the room, so that's always good. Really good turnout. Fantastic speakers. Was very happy to be invited along, happy to participate going forward. I think Markets Group put on a really good show.
Oh, wonderful. We're so glad to have you, Martin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're live at our private wealth forum in Sydney, Australia.